dokie. I'm now going to welcome Dr. Mary K. Keller, who's from Florida, who's going to do our next session on father involvement, something I'm very interested in, and so is Chris, as one of the token men, I think. So Mary Kay is a life advisor, author, and a TED speaker. Well, a speaker, and she's done TED talks. She holds a PhD in human services and specializes in family and child sciences. And she tells us that she likes to write books based upon common questions she's been asked. And her first one was called Hassle-Free Bedtime. Maybe I should have read that before I had my 4 children. So, Mary Kay, over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Linda, for hosting and for inviting me today. I was going to say good afternoon and realized I might be saying good evening in some parts of the world. I get kind of confused with all the time changes. But could you tell me, do my slides just pop up in front of me? How does that work, Linda?
You just slide it along with the little button at the bottom of the page.
Okay. It's up
yeah?
now. It wasn't showing before, so thank you. I'm really excited to be invited here to talk to everyone. You want the mic up? I hear somebody saying my mic needs to go up. Let me adjust that real quick. Is that better?
Yep, that's lovely.
Okay, great. So as this research project was very exciting to me. I went into it not really sure of what we were going to find, but we designed it so that I could teach 5 fathers to massage their babies and then capture their experiences. And I'm sure the results are really exciting, and we'll get to those, but equally exciting was the process of the research itself. And so it was quite a learning experience, not only for me, but for the other people that were involved. So the question we posed is, what benefits would father perceive from massaging their children? And then there was a significance in the literature review. And what I discovered when I did a critical review was that of all the research that had been done on infant massage, it had been done primarily with babies and mothers, or babies and professional caregivers. But there were only 2 studies to date, one in 2000 and one in 2005, in which fathers had been involved. And there were positive outcomes in that research. The other thing that was very, very revealing was that when I looked at attachment theory, that in the 1920s, here's how attachment theory evolved. In the 1920s, there was a researcher by the name of Hammett who studied the relationship between mother rats and baby rats. In the 1930s, Harlow studied the relationship between mommy monkeys and baby monkeys. And then, of course, Bowlby and Ainsworth in the 40s and the 50s looked at the relationship between human mothers and their babies, and went on to develop the attachment theory and also the tool that measured attachment between the mothers and the babies. And as you can see very clearly, there was someone who was left out of all this research, and that would be the fathers. Go on to the next slide. So when we took a look at this, we decided that, to use qualitative research to kind of capture this as a case study. And so the case study was an N of 1, and that being this group of 5 fathers, and then the exploration of their experiences. And then I'll go through later on the demographics, the structured interviews, the self-report diary, and the observations. So we were collecting data from multiple sources, and therefore strengthening the research by triangulation. So here's how the data collection worked. First, there was a screening, and so fathers were determined to either be eligible or ineligible. I had one young father we had set the age at about 25, and he was 22. And actually, we had 2 fathers under the age of 25 that he decided to let in, because both of them were so persistent about wanting to be included in this research, and both of them seemed so dedicated to their babies, and they wanted to learn how to massage my committee and I decided to go ahead and include them in the study. So during the first initial screening part, the demographic survey, and I asked each one of them why they wanted to be in the survey. And then at stage 1, a structured interview was conducted with each of the fathers. Now this was done separately. They did not meet each other. They did not know each other. This was done in their home. And they were done at scheduled appointed times. So first there was a structured interview in which questions were asked that asked them about their relationship with their baby, how did they describe their baby, their role in their baby's life, what kind of activities they currently were involved in with their babies. And then they were, I demonstrated infant massage as prescribed by the Certified International Association of Infant Massage. They have a prescribed procedure. And after they learned it, then there was a 5-minute video of them practicing the massage. Then during stage 2, when I left that day, I left them with a diary. And the diary collected the time of day, the strokes that they used, the body part that they massaged, and they were instructed to continue to do this for 3 weeks and then record it once a week. And so they were on their own for 3 weeks, and then I would come back at the end of the 3 weeks and I would conduct the same structured interview, another 5-minute video recording. Then they were allowed to review both of those videos, and I captured their responses to watching themselves in both of those videos. So, and then at the end of the research, of course, there was member checking. I checked with them to make sure that I had captured what they had said and that it was correct. And then as the incentive, the moms were asked not to be involved during this time period. So as an incentive, afterwards, they were allowed to invite the mother to come back for a pre-infant massage class. In some case, grandparents wanted to be involved, and we went ahead and included them in that as well. Now, this, for me, was the exciting part, because all of us that are very familiar with research understand that in our cultures, quantitative research is considered to be superior. I think that this is a fallacy, and I think it's like trying to compare apples and oranges. They might both be fruits, but they're obviously not the same. And so this was a crosswalk that I built, used, after having read numerous articles on qualitative research, and by researchers who had been qualitative researchers for quite some time and were very notorious in the field. And I looked at what they were saying as far as why qualitative research was not being considered to be credible and to be as valid or as important as quantitative research. So in making sure that, first of all, this research met qualitative research rigor. That's what this first slide is about. So credibility was met through triangulation of the data. That's the different data sources. Member checking back with the fathers to make sure everything was taken in accordance. And then the time sampling. The initial time was, of course, at the beginning, again at the end, and then in between for the 3 weeks. The transferability was met through providing thick description in the research, in defining what attachment theory was, engagement cues, taking a look at the definitions, the operational definitions. It was important to be very, very precise in the vocabulary, but also to provide a extensive vocabulary in order to describe what was happening in the research. And then the purpose of sampling. And that, just because it's small and there are only 5 fathers does not mean that it's not representative. And you'll be able to see that from the demographics. The dependability, creating an audit trail so that anyone else could go back over it. Coding and the recoding strategy were defined. And then again, triangulation. And then the confirmability, again, triangulation, practicing reflexivity, letting people know that I had been an infant massage instructor before I did the research, and then looking at negative case analysis. And to me, looking at negative case analysis is just being transparent. So this is the part that I was excited about, and that's the qualitative research strategies and how they not only met the rigor and the standards for qualitative research, but what that means in terms of quantitative language. So credibility meets internal validity, and that's based on other research articles. There were so many different research articles on qualitative research that I was able to review those and then pull them together in order to create this crosswalk. So transferability is, I don't want to use the word equal, it's comparable to external validity. Dependability is equated with reliability, and confirmability is equated with objectivity. And so that's, I've already written one research article on the research itself, and the second one that I'm developing right now is on this piece of it, this piece of the qualitative research and how it is important and what it brings to the table for researchers. And this was how the data analysis, the data was analyzed. It was done through Atlas.ti. It was an incredible experience. It was my first time using it. Our local university did not have the money that year to be able to send me overseas for the training on it.